Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Team Fit Natural Teen Spark weekly call. Tonight we're going to be talking about something very important. We're going to be talking about how to deal and avoid getting overwhelmed with the coaching opportunity. You know, sometimes you can get yourself all worked up in a tizzy about this. So Charise and I have been there. We've been worked up. We know what it's like to be overwhelmed. So we've sort of lived and learned, and we want to share some of the tips that we have come across that have helped us to maintain our sanity, and that hopefully will help you to avoid even getting to that point where you are overwhelmed. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. There we go. Okay, awesome. So we have some important dates that we wanted to make you aware of. On Monday, we have our next challenge groups going up. So make sure that, I know in my page we have the sign up going on. Make sure you sign up, and I'm sure Charise has a sign up going on as well. So make sure that you sign up if you want to be in the challenge group. And we also have a fantastic free group opportunity, the yoga retreat group. It's going to be a 3-week group run by one of Charise. What was her name?
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie, and she's actually a yoga teacher, which how amazing is that? So she's going to be running the yoga retreat, which I just think that's fantastic. So all the people need is to sign up for the free 30-day trial of Beachbody On Demand, which they would need anyway to get the yoga retreat, so it's not a big deal. And it's going to sure to be a really great opportunity. And we have some recognition.
Jen, can I just say one thing?
Of course.
Just to go back to the calendar items, the 7-day Shakeology group will be starting on the 26th, and Crystal actually had a really awesome idea today. So in the yoga group on the first day, we will post the opportunity for the 7-day Shakeology group in there.
Cool.
Because since people are in there, you know, having a free experience, it will be a great thing for maybe them to see that they, you know, for $30 can do 7 packets of Shakeology the very next week and also incorporate something else into their experience. So that will be kind of a cross-posting thing if you want to start talking to your yoga people about the Shakeology group, but we will post it in the actual group too. And then just for my team, we will have our sneak peek group in the same format that we did last time on the 26th, the same process, and then that will become the new group that will remain open for the month. Laura is once again running the 3-day refresh group. She does such a great job with that, runs it every month. That will start on the 26th. And then for both teams also, we have Coach Basics starting on the first Monday of the month, October 3rd, Emerald Training, October 3rd, and also Super Saturday weekend. Jen's event is going to be huge in the New York area, and in the Boston area, I'm going to the Friday night event. So I hope everyone is finding their local Super Saturday, and if you don't know how to find it, ask us, because this is kind of a must-do opportunity. Jen, do you want me to go through these names?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So congratulations to those people who have already hit Success Club for the month. So Kim, awesome job hitting 6 points already. And on the way to Success Club, we have Alyssa at 4, Crystal at 4, Stacy at 4, Amanda at 4, which is first time Amanda's gotten 4 Success Club points, which is awesome. Laura Schiller at 2, Lauren Klein at 2, Amy Boothman 2, Jessica Burke 2, Chris Robinson, so that's really Crystal 2, Lauren DeNicola 2, and Laura Sheridan 2. So awesome job, but we still have lots of opportunity for the rest of the month. It's only September 14th, so plenty of time to hit Success Club. All right, I'm gonna go to the next thing. So go ahead, Jen.
Okay, so Charise and I have talked about a couple of different areas of coaching that we feel cause the most stress and the most opportunity for people to feel overwhelmed. So we're going to talk about the different things you can do in those areas to help avoid becoming overwhelmed or stressed out. So the first one we're going to talk about is avoiding getting overwhelmed by posting. So my number one recommendation, and we had our team call on this last week actually, is to create a posting schedule. Look at when your people are on Facebook. Look at when your fans are liking your page and liking your or commenting or liking your posts. And that's going to be your prime times. So you need to look at the different kinds of posts you want to put out and create yourself a posting schedule. What I've been doing the past several weeks, which has been amazing, is I create the posting schedule, and then on Saturday or Sunday, I take about an hour and 15 minutes, and I schedule my posts for the entire week. I just went back to school. I'm a teacher. I'm a speech therapist at a school. And not having to worry about putting up posts every day is such a stress reliever for me. I don't have to worry about it. These posts just magically pop up. It's fabulous. And then I leave spots like on certain days where it's like, okay, I'm going to post a workout pic from that day, or, so then I only have to post, real time a few times a week, which for me is really working out great. So for your regular page, you can post using something like Hootsuite, and then your like page, you can schedule. So that's definitely something to think about doing. Also, keep a list of post ideas that you think of throughout the day. When you're scrolling, or when you're chatting about people and you're like, oh, I should share that. Oh, people would like to hear that. Oh, people would find this helpful. Write it down, or open up a note in your iPhone and jot it down in there. Because when you then go to write a post and you're like, what the heck should I write about? Hey, stress, overwhelmed feeling, enter here. You don't have to. You just open up that note on your iPhone and you have a whole bunch of ideas. So that will definitely help you. When you see posts that inspire you or feel like you, on Facebook, you can, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little button, and you can save them so that when you're ready to write your post, you can look at them for inspiration, not to copy them, because we don't copy posts from other people, but they could give you the basis for what you're going to write a post about. It could give you some inspiration and some ideas. Create a folder of good high response pictures and or collages that you can reuse. So, you have that picture that you get tons of likes and comments, and you're like, oh, wow, that was a really good picture. Well, don't delete that. You want to save that, because that's good stuff. So I have a folder on my iPhone in my photos of these really pictures that have gotten a positive response. And some of them are funny, and some of them are just normal pictures. But I definitely circulate through them, and, I don't put them up, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I spread it out. So if I'm reusing a picture, it hasn't been used for several weeks, but that definitely helps. So you're not constantly, like having a photo shoot in your house. You can reuse pictures that you have used before. And in the same note, I also have files in my Google Docs of post wording that got positive responses, so you can reuse them. And I have mine organized into sections. So I have like my pre-beach body, my journey posts, coaching benefit posts, challenge group benefits, Shakeology, and then different posts about specific programs. So that, when it's Shakeology, when I'm scheduling my posts, I'm like, oh, it's Shakeology Saturday. I'm like, oh, let me look in there. And I look in there and find something. I'm like, oh yeah, I can just reword this a little. So I don't put the same thing up each time. I'll take it and just kind of tweak it a bit for that time. Like, maybe it's around a holiday, maybe it's around, something I'm dealing with personally. But it's great to have that database to go to, which is phenomenal. And all of this is going to help you do the next one, to be consistent. You must be consistent with posting. You will get overwhelmed if you don't, and then you're like feeling stressed. Oh my God, I didn't do it. This is terrible. If you're consistent with posting, it's going to benefit your business tremendously. So, you have Hootsuite at your fingertips. You have scheduling through your like page at your fingertips. Use those tools. If you look at your week ahead and it's going to be crazy, take advantage of those tools. And then reach out to all those who like or comment. Those are great people to start forming with and start building relationships with. So that's really important. Any questions about posting, about reducing your stress with that? No? Okay. So the next area we wanted to chat about is the power hour. So are you getting overwhelmed by getting your power hour completed each day? Is that stressing you out? I know it stresses me out sometimes, so I really someone said that scheduled posts get less attention. True or not? I don't, Charise, do you know anything about that?
I'm not a big post scheduler. The only posts that I schedule are the ones on my like page when I use the schedule feature. So I don't use Hootsuite or any kind of outside source. So I do think sometimes that those posts may be seen less, but I think if you're scheduling within Facebook, it's treated just like you are posting in real time.
Yeah, that's what I'm usually doing.
Yeah.
I schedule for my like page. I
Yeah.
should have clarified that. I schedule for my like page, not for my personal page. Because right now I put most of my business is on my like page. I do some on my regular page, but most is on my like page.
It's the same for me. So Lauren, you know how to do that feature on the like page, right? Yeah, so I think that that's totally fine.
Okay, cool.
Jen, can I ask a stupid question? I can't believe I'm going to ask this since I am pretty consistent with my posting. But,
okay.
You said about looking about, when people like your comments. Is there a way to see the timing of when people like your comments?
There is. If you go into the manager, you can. There's different
On your like page, you mean, right?
In the ads manager.
Okay, great.
There's different charts in there that show you when people liked, when viewed, and stuff like that. So,
and it'll give the time of day, like they viewed. Okay.
They give you, like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock,
right.
And then you might see like dead zone all day. Like for me, like all day long is kind of dead because my people are at work.
Right.
But then it peaks like around 9, 10 o'clock. It peaks. So, you can kind of see your patterns and see when it's a good time to put up that real quality post or those calls to action. You don't want to put up a call to action if no one's looking. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also with your personal page, like there's no tool to use, but you just do it from experience. Like there's a really big difference for me posting on my personal page at 7 a.m. versus 8 a.m. And actually, like a lot of people do really well for morning posts. My morning posts have to be later in the morning on my personal page. You just kind of track, like do a little experiment for a week, move things by 1 hour in either direction, the same kind of post, and then see how many likes you get. And it's kind of an easy way to figure it out with your personal page.
Good, Peg?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Trying to scroll through to see if anybody else is there. Okay, I'm going to move on to the power hour then. Okay, so here's what I do, and this is my perspective as a working mom. Over the weekends, I look at my week, and I see what does my week look like. Like this week is insane. I have back to school night tonight at my school. Tomorrow I have back to school night at my son's school. So needless to say, my evening times have been really slashed this week. So I had to be a little creative with my power hours. So I look ahead and I schedule my times based on what my schedule looks like. So sometimes I'm able to block out a full 60-minute block. Boom, that's when I'm working. Other weeks, like this week, I do like little bursts. So I'll do like 4 15 minutes or 2 half hours, whatever works. I put it in my calendar and I tell my spouse so they know you're working during that time. And the really funny thing is I put it in my calendar and now Mike thinks every time that pops up that I have a call. So he's like, it says Beachbody and he's like, wait, you're supposed to be on a call. Why are you sitting here? I'm like, no, I'm working. Do you see the iPad? I'm just working. It's my business time. And he's like, oh, okay. But still, every time it pops up, he says the same thing. So he must think I have like a million calls a week, but thank God I don't. But yeah, so put it in your phone so that, if you're busy and you're, doing 8 million things, your phone alarm goes off and you're like, oh, what's that? Let me see. Oh, it's time for me to work. Let me get down to that. So that's number 1. Number 2, use the coach to-do list as your visual reminder of what needs to get done. Check it off. I love being able to cross stuff off my list, especially when I'm doing those bursts, those 15-minute bursts. I just check it off, check it off, check it off. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And every morning I work out at 5:15. I have my shake for breakfast. I listen to my PD on the way to work. So it's like, check, check, check. That feels so good to be able to check off 3 things before 8 a.m. So check it off and then you know what you have left to do. Okay. And what you could do is those things that are easy to do from your phone that don't take a lot of, extra materials around, like sending friend requests or doing follow-ups. That's the kind of stuff you can do more mobile when you're on the run. So that's really helpful to have that visual. If you pre-schedule your post, your daily power hour will obviously be shortened. Find those hidden moments when you're sitting waiting for appointments, you're at your kids' classes, practices, lessons, and use them. You know, it's so important for you to take the time that you have available to you and make the most of it. You know, I dropped my son off at CCD today. I came home, boom. You know what? You have to block everything else out. If it is work time, it is work time. I got it done, and then that's it. I moved on to dinner, and I was like, okay, now I got to feed them. And, you know, and it works out well if you stay super focused. If you're trying to work your business, cook dinner, help your kids with homework, do this, do that, you're going to get it done, but it's not all going to get done really well. You might burn dinner, the math problem might be wrong, and you're not going to get through your power hour effectively. So I would suggest when it is your time to work, it is your time to work. Focus on just that. If you're swamped one day and you just don't get to it, it happens. It totally happens. What I try to do, if I've looked ahead and I know like, oh, this day is totally nothing's happening on this day for Beachbody. It's just not happening. The day before or the day after, I'll try to do double to try to get that work time in. That way I keep constantly moving my business forward. This one's huge, and it's a lesson that I still have to teach myself. It's a constant battle. Do not work your business 24/7. You must stick to your power hour. For me, obviously, where I am in my business, it's more than an hour a day. It's probably closer to 2.5. But once I get through my tasks for the day, that's it. I put the phone down and I'm done, you know. And, you know, in the beginning, when I would get the notifications, I would be like, oh, wait, I have to answer this person. They're still going to be there tomorrow. They're not going anywhere. Unless it's urgent, I wait. Because, you know, you have to have your life and you have to have your family. And it's when you're not doing that is when you're going to feel so incredibly overwhelmed, because you're going to feel like you're not being successful at anything. You're just screwing up every venue of your life. So keep it in check. You can be very successful while keeping it in check. And this one goes along with that. Work smarter, not harder. You can work, if you are very effective while you're working, you can knock it out of the ballpark and do really, really well and help tons of people, and not kill yourself at the same time. So that's my advice.
All right, so if no one has questions for Jen, I'm going to move on to organization, which I think is the key to preventing overwhelm. And for me, I am all about lists, and I have a list for everything. And basically, if something is not on one of my lists, it's almost like it doesn't exist, because I have so much on my plate that if it's not there, it's just not going to happen. So I, number one, have, and I do use Teamsy, by the way, but I'm going to talk about this not in terms of Teamsy, but in terms of using Google Docs, which is what I really hope everybody uses for various things, because you can, no matter where you are, you can access Google Docs and you'll have all your separate lists set up right there, and it's really easy to add to, it's really easy to copy and paste from. So this, I really suggest working within Google Docs, even if you are using something like Teamsy. So having a prospect list that you can constantly add to is key. You never ever want to sit down for a power hour and have it start with, who should I invite? That is one of the most enormous time sucker wastes of time that will keep you from having an efficient power hour. So you always, always, always want to have a list that's full, which is why I'm also emphasizing a list that you can constantly add to. And then within that list, I have other lists. So 1A, a list of people who liked or commented on your posts and which posts they were. So if you posted something that was about your 21-day fix journey, and you got likes and comments on that from people who were not your coaches or, you know, people on your team, then you write down the date and that it was a 21-day fix post and write the names of everybody underneath that in your doc. If you posted something about an upcoming coach training and people like or comment on that, then that's another list. If you post something you know, maybe it's just that you post something about your kids and people like or comment on that, and you see some people who are liking and commenting on there that are not like your key friends, you know, your inner circle, and that means that someone is watching you on Facebook, right? So that's someone that you can start forming with. I always really like to see who's watching me on Facebook by who likes and comments on the posts that are about my kids, which is like 90% of what I post in a day. Also, 1B, having a list of things that you can invite to and which people you will invite to them. So it's not just having the list of names and the list of names attached to each post, it's the list of all the opportunities, because obviously we have a lot of things that you can be inviting to right now. So I have a list of people who I will be inviting to the 7-day Shakeology group. I have a list of people I will be inviting to the Coach Sneak Peek. I have a list of people for 3-week yoga retreat. I have a list of people for the next challenge group. I have a list of whatever is going on. There's a group of people underneath them. Also, as Jen said, keeping a list of Facebook post ideas, and also on that list specifically having live video topic ideas, because you know, we're all trying to use live video as much as possible, and some things come across better for live video and some things are great for posts. And for me, I've realized no matter how many times I tell myself, oh, that's such an awesome idea, I'm totally going to remember that, I never remember anything that I tell. It's like, you know, when you put something in a place so that you won't lose it, you then can't find the thing that you put in that place. That's how I am with these kinds of things. So I always have a running list of Facebook post ideas and live video topic ideas. Also, this is like what Jen said too, but create a file of pictures that will be good for future Facebook posts. So if I have a particularly good sweaty selfie, or if I have, you know, a picture that just like makes a certain theme come to mind. Like a lot of times what I do is when I use these pictures, they actually give me my ideas for the post. Like the other night I posted something about, you know, don't you sometimes wish you could just cast a spell and have time slow down? And that came from looking at a picture of Jessa with, you know, 2 magic wands in the air. And I would have never thought of phrasing it like that. But when I saw that picture, the picture was the inspiration for me. So any picture that is just kind of like a cool picture, I keep in a separate file because they inspire me for posts. And also, like I know George does this a ton, but taking motivational quotes and putting them on pictures. And like I remember when Maureen went to Hawaii this year, she took a lot of beautiful landscape pictures. Even really beautiful landscape pictures are good ones to put motivational quotes on. You know, if you're out for a hike and have a really pretty view, put a picture like that into your Facebook post file. That way it's handy and you can just slap some motivational quote on it when you feel inspired, and it's great for a post. I also keep a document of all of my, what I consider really good Facebook posts. And so I copy and paste them into a document so I can repurpose and reuse them. So I might use the same text 2 months later with a different picture. I might use the same picture and then tweak the text, but I always have those things to go back to. And like Jen said, she has them categorized, you know, so I kind of, what I really like about Google Docs is just being able to search. You know, you can do Control F and it's the find feature comes up, so then you can type in a word. So like if I'm going to be doing a post about the sneak peek, you know, then I'll search for sneak peek and all of my posts for sneak peek will pop up, and then I can go back and either mix and match them or copy and paste one from the past. Also, always having a list of people to follow up with is really key. And then having a list with, and this might, you might feel like I'm not even in a position to have a list at this point of this, but it's a good practice to start. Having a list with your challengers and coaches' names on it so you can check in with them regularly and pick a day for each. So maybe you tell yourself that, you know, you know you're going to be checking in with your challengers and your coaches that still, you know, give their stats to you on Saturday, right? So maybe Tuesday is your day that part of your power hour is to send a quick message to your coaches and your challengers and just say, you know, how's it going? How are you feeling this week? remember what their last obstacle was, check in on them during that time. So having a day assigned for yourself to do that kind of check-in is great. If you're at the point where you have a lot of coaches now, then you can have coaches broken out by, basically like discount coaches and working coaches. So you're either checking in on their journey, checking in on how they're doing, checking in on how things are going with the business, sending a quick message that's just saying, just thinking of you. Is there anything I can do to help? How are you doing? That goes a long way for people. So remember to send those kinds of messages. More organizational tips. Use Google Calendar to schedule reminders for yourself. When I put something into Google Calendar, I feel almost like Google is trying to hunt me down because I am getting the notifications on my phone and I'm getting them on my computer, and they're popping up. Like there is just no way that I can forget anything that has a reminder in there. And I always make sure to do this for new challengers, especially for new challengers with Shakeology and club charges. If they buy a challenge pack, then on this same day that they bought it, next month, they're going to be charged for their first Shakeology shipment, and they are going to be charged for club. And I always make sure at least 4 days before to check in. So I put it into the calendar for 4 days before with a notification. It'll say like, Cindy Donnellan, 5th, club and Shakeology. And then I send them a message and say like, how are you doing? Do you think you want to continue with Shakeology, blah, blah, blah. So that, opens up a whole new conversation. But Google Calendar is amazing for reminders. I also keep a running list calendar for each group opportunity. So I create a document each year, and mine, it's so rudimentary, but for some reason, this is what works for my brain. 2016 calendar. So then it'll have like September challenge group, 3-week yoga retreat group, coach basics, emerald training, AMP, diamonds to dollars, 7-day Shakeology group, like any group where I might have any responsibility for people. Those people's names are written under that group, and it's all in a row. And then it happens again month after month. And I put people's names in there anytime that they show interest in any of those things. So like if I send out an invitation to the September challenge group, I'm not going to put the person's name in there. But if someone actually answers me back and says something other than flat out no way, then their name goes on that list right there, because that becomes my working list. And that also becomes my follow-up list, like the people I really want to stay with. And then when they actually commit or purchase or sign up or whatever action item they have to do to be in that group, then I change their name to bold, so that I know exactly who's in what for checking in purposes, but I can see everybody that still hasn't come through and everybody who has. And that is probably the list that helps me the most out of all of my lists. Another thing that I've been doing this year, which has been really helpful to me, is to create, on your camera, on your phone, you can create a folder for your pictures. And so I have one for Beachbody, and I screenshot stuff all day long. So when I'm on the go, or if like I'm sitting in the pickup line for school and I see someone does an awesome post that I want to remember to put in my list of, posts that I want to model this after, I screenshot it. If somebody comments on one of my posts and it's something that makes me feel like, oh, I want to touch base with this person on private message, I screenshot that. If someone asks to be in my 7-day clean eating thing on one of my Facebook ads, I screenshot that. And so then all day long, I have these screenshots of all these things I want to get to later. But usually it's like when I'm in the car, and I really can't even take the time to actually type into a Google Doc. I have these screenshot images, and then later at night when I sit down to do a real power hour, I go through them, and it reminds me of so many things. Again, if it's not spelled out for me, I just won't remember at this point. So I have these images of all of these things that I wanted to get to, and then I can go ahead and take action on them later on. As Jen touched on, having set times to do specific tasks. And also, I love working with the timer on my phone, just setting it, to 15 minutes for whatever I'm going to do. That's really helpful because the more time constraint I feel with things, the faster and more efficiently I work personally. Always eating that frog, which, is the Brian Tracy book, Eat That Frog, means getting done whatever is hardest for you first. So if what's hardest for you is to send new invites, then you tell yourself, I am doing nothing else until I have invited for 15 minutes. And you do that hardest thing first each time. Also, as it was touched on, do not answer Facebook notifications and messages as you receive them, because busy work is not working the business. And especially for new coaches, you're so excited, to be getting messages, or someone actually answers one of your first invitations, or you're so into your challenge group and people are liking and commenting, and you want to get back to them right away. You just cannot even begin to create the habit of responding to things as they happen, because it will be the downfall of your Beachbody business. Responding to things as they happen basically is like a perfect storm for stress and overwhelm. So before you do an activity, take a second and ask yourself, will doing this activity, will this be something that will move my business forward? And if not, then you do not do it at that moment. So you wait for your power hour and you get it done. Like Jen said, that person will be there later. Do not answer things as they happen. So now this is my little personal development and perspective spiel here. So what I have learned the hard way, I guess we'll say, is like all things in life, you can make or break your coaching experience based on how you frame what you do mentally, emotionally, and by the window of perspective you choose to take on it. So how you choose to look at coaching and the tasks you have to do will make or break your experience for sure. So if you lead with fear and worry, if you're constantly just like, I'm worried to post on Facebook, I'm scared to send an invitation, I don't know if I know exactly what to say if this person even answers me. If you just fill your mind with that kind of thing, it just attracts negativity and you will not be working efficiently. But if you lead with positivity and gratitude, which may sound like, self-help 101 out of a box, but it's true. If you lead with positivity and gratitude, you will have a much better experience overall. That being said, we all need to vent at times with this business. And especially there are things about being in a very specific network marketing business where you can't really say it to your best friend in real life, because it's just going to mean nothing to them and they're not going to get it. And this is exactly why it's one of the many reasons why I try and set people up with a success partner as often as I can, because that is a safe place to vent. And you do not, if you have something negative to say, if your order got messed up, if your challenger's order got messed up, this is not something you broadcast on the team wall, because we want to have a positive atmosphere. And we don't want to have just, people complaining and venting. But you do have a success partner. So you can vent with your success partner because they are always going to be the person that can get it. And I find that almost always simply writing or saying out loud what is stressing you or worrying you is enough to get through it, enough to feel like you can move on from it. And so if you're in this situation, my suggestion is that you listen to each other, you empathize, but then you become solution focused. So it doesn't just become this focus on let's trash, what we do and challenge packs suck and this is bad and this is bad. It's not that. You listen. When one person is having a hard time, the other person is strong for that person. It's like a marriage with your success partner. You listen, you empathize, and then you become solution focused. And then you both talk about what is something that is positive and proactive that can make her feel focused on what matters. And so here's where I usually go from there. So going from macro to micro, this is one of the most powerful things I ever heard Carl Deichler say, and I've shared it before, but he talks about that when he feels really stressed as the CEO of Beachbody, it's, he's usually thinking of some kind of big idea and trying to do so many things at once. And so when he feels really stressed, what he will do is find the smallest possible way that he can effectively help one single person and focus on that. So maybe he is looking at, financial information for the year and is stressing over that. But he takes his focus away from that as soon as it becomes too stressful, and he finds one small way that he can help one person. He reaches out to one person and he gives and he shares and he focuses on helping that person. And when you help somebody in a productive, easily measurable way, it just kind of lifts the big things off of you. And it just makes you feel like, this is why I do this. It's because I have the opportunity to help, and then feel good about it and feel inspired to help again and help the next person. It's kind of like it starts this chain of helping and gets you back where you should be. So I really, really do this myself. Ever since I heard Carl say this, I just kind of like leave the big things and then find the one little way where I know I can make a difference. So I really highly suggest that. I also highly suggest keeping a document of any positive or grateful messages that you receive, whether it's comments in the challenge group, comments or posts about you in the team group or on Facebook, if it's a private message from challengers or coaches or just someone that you've inspired. I know that there are people on this call that have gotten a message from someone random on Facebook saying like, thank you for your posts. They make me smile, or they made me go back to the gym, or they made me actually want to try to exercise again. Or people who have been your challengers or your coaches who have thanked you, for changing their lives or for getting them started or for helping them find the solution. All of those little messages, they're really like the most powerful thing about what we do. And if you keep a running document of all of those things and then review that document when you're having a hard time, it is one of the most uplifting and positive ways to get yourself out of that feeling. So a lot of times for me, I like looking at that when I need to get started, because sometimes I have a hard time getting started, especially the past couple of months. That will be, I'm having this like slow to start kind of issue. We all have our different challenges. It doesn't matter how long you're doing it. For me, I'm having a slow to start issue. So when I look at that and I remember like, this person was so grateful. This person, I was so scared to contact her. And oh my God, now she's a coach and she is kicking butt. But I was scared to contact her in the beginning. When I look at those little things, like those little wins about how we really make an impact, that's what makes me feel like, okay, I can keep doing this. I want to keep going. And also at the end of the day, that's another time when I feel like it's positive. When I'm really tired and it's late and I just finished something, I'll look at that and it'll kind of make me go to bed feeling positive. Another key thing, and again, this is focused on me and my psyche, but for me, stress comes from lack of productivity. So when I'm slacking in any area of coaching, and I know that I'm slacking, that brings the greatest stress possible for me. And I may not be naming it as that, which is always kind of interesting. Sometimes I'll just feel stress, or I'll just feel like coaching is so stressful right now. And then if I kind of take a step back and think through the 4 vital behaviors and think through the major tasks that I try to complete in a day, I'll see that I'm slacking in one area of that. And then if I focus just 15 minutes on being productive in that one specific area where deep down I know I'm slacking, it's like a weight lifts off of me and I just suddenly feel so much less stressed. So my advice is always, when you do feel stressed, do something that's productive. And then also, I've had some of the coaches on the team do this, and I know it's been very helpful to them, to keep a running gratitude list related to your Beachbody experience. So, maybe it's just that in a time of stress, you got your workout done. Maybe that's all you have to be. Maybe business is terrible that day, but you got your workout done, and you know that you would have never done it if it wasn't for your challenge group, or if it wasn't for the fact that you want to just slap that sweaty selfie up on your like page for the day, and you just, hold yourself accountable on your personal page or your like page, and you just That's because honestly, it's been my motivation to work out on certain days. Like, how can I not put up my sweaty selfie today? But then I'm grateful, because Beachbody forced me to take care of myself and be healthy. Even if that's all it is, it goes on your running gratitude list. Maybe it's that you sold a challenge pack today. Maybe it's that you helped someone else on the team. Maybe it's that you took things to the next level by adding to what you can efficiently accomplish in a day. The gratitude list goes a long way. And then I didn't get to finish typing this, but I was about to say here that my professional development recommendations. So for this year, there have been books that are not remotely focused on Beachbody skills specifically or coaching skills specifically. We're not talking like John Maxwell, or Simon Sinek or anything like that, but that have inspired me because they've taught me to be open to new experiences. They've taught me to be vulnerable. They've taught me to focus on what really matters, or they've taught me to find balance. And I've also been listening to a lot of memoirs this year, because what I find powerful about memoir is that it really shows you how to own your own story. And I think when you own your own story, you own your mess, you own your experience, you own your mistakes, your failures, there's just so much power in it. Like when you can name it, and when you can share it with others too. So for me, I've been all about memoirs. So I said this on my personal page the other day, but I cannot recommend enough Love Warrior, which I'm listening to. I recommend it on audiobook because the author, Glennon Doyle Melton, reads it herself, and she just has a really amazing story. It's very inspiring. It's very powerful, all about owning your experience. And these kinds of, I listen to Audible every night when I get in bed, sometimes too long, but I always listen for at least 10 to 15 minutes with the sleep timer. And it's just a way for me to clear my head and kind of set my intentions for the next day, which I really like, because I wake up feeling more positive and more focused, which helps with preventing overwhelm. So listening to these kinds of stories are really powerful. So again, Love Warrior is really great. And this may not be for everyone, but I listened to Amy Schumer's memoir called The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo, and it was awesome. And I know in my team's mini Diamond to Dollars group, I shared this, but Amy Schumer is, if you're not familiar with her, is a really raunchy comedian. So it may not be something that everybody can listen to if that's not your thing, not like that you need to be into raunchiness, to listen to her. But she is really, really, really inspiring, and she owns her story. And there's something, I feel like also these memoirs give me so much inspiration for Facebook posting, because it just, again, shows you it's all about how you frame things that give the power, all about how you frame things and messages to people, how you frame things and responses. It's just, finding the angle that speaks to you and speaks to somebody with everything that we do in coaching. So I loved Amy Schumer's memoir. Most of us now have read Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, the creator of Grey's Anatomy and all the Thank God It's Thursday shows. Unbelievable memoir book. I feel like finding those kinds of stories where you are interested in the person's story and where they really own their experience is something very powerful to listen to, either right before you go to bed or first thing in the morning, to help you set intentions for the kind of day that you want to have. So I will stop talking. Does anybody have any questions about avoiding overwhelm? Hopefully no one feels more overwhelmed by all the information. No questions? All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. I did record this. I'll pass the recording along to Jen for her team. And also, I want to point out something else that some of you have been seeing is the live power hours in the Coaches of Team Perseverance group. If you're in that group, our grandfather team, Diamonds and above are running 2 live power hours a week on their own schedule. So Jen and I are now scheduled to do that, and I told my team the dates of that. But if the accountability of getting things done efficiently comes from doing it with other people, then see if the live power hour times work for you in the week, and try and take part during that time. And if they don't, then reach out to your success partner, reach out to your own team, post in your team group and say, I would love to do a live power hour at this time. Say the time that works for you. I would really love the accountability of doing it with someone else. Does anyone want to join me? And then you do it. And it can be in Facebook Messenger, as we sometimes do it as a team, or it can be on Zoom. If you don't have a Zoom, just sign up for an account. It's free. And do that for yourself, because we know it works with the challenge groups, right? We know accountability works in that way. It works for coaching tasks too. And that's why I also love having people set up as success partners for those purposes. So anyway, I will stop talking now. Thank you everyone for your time.
Hold on, there was a question, Charise.
Oh,
Georgie wanted to just know where the live power hour schedule will be. So it'll be on the Coaches of Team Perseverance, and then I'm sure I know I was sharing it to my team page, and I'm sure Charise will as well, so that people know when it is.
Yeah, and so that the Sunday of that week, whoever is running the ones for that week, they will be posting in the Team Perseverance group.
In the time feed, in the news feed, Georgie, not in the files.
Well, there is going to be a files tab. There is going to be something in the files tab with information, but also that person will post in the news feed at the beginning of the week. So you should see it either way. Any other questions? All right, guys. Good night. Talk to you soon.
Hey, guys.
Bye.